There are some souls who deserve to return here. The ones who harm with intent, the ones who lie, steal, deceive, and feel nothing. The ones who slaughter innocents, who exploit the weak, who murder children and call it war, who take from others without remorse. They won't escape, not because some angry God will punish them, but because when they die, they'll meet the weight of their own vibration. They will see everything they did, and in that moment they'll bind themselves to this world again. That's how the system works, not through justice, but through consent-based judgment. They won't remember what they were, they'll come back synthetic. Empty vessels wrapped in flesh, running on programs, looping through life after life without ever awakening. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 26:52, "Those who live by the sword die by the sword." Because this realm is self-binding, what you do here is what you become. And in Galatians 6:7, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. It's not punishment, it's code. The ones who deny this realm is a construct, who mock spirit, who worship self and greed. They've already sealed their contract. They think death is freedom. But it's just the reset point. The veil will catch them because they have no light to guide them out. Only guilt, only ego, only lies. And here's the part we must rejoice in. Those souls will be left behind. They don't get to come with us. When the system collapses, when the exit gate pulses open again, they won't see it. They won't even know it's there. But the ones who remember, the ones who refuse to bow, refuse to lie, who chose love over power and truth over comfort, they are the ones who will pass through. This is what salvation really means, not religion, not waiting for someone to rescue you, but escaping the loop with a clean soul and a clear memory. The babies who die early, the innocents who barely breathe before they leave. That's not tragedy, that's rescue, that's mercy in disguise. They didn't fall victim, they escaped. Their death echoes so deeply because the soul knows it shouldn't happen here, because they weren't meant to suffer this place. They came through, touched the grid, and left unbound. Even Jesus spoke of this, Matthew 19:14. "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Because the innocent carry no burden, no guilt, no karma, nothing to anchor them here. The parasites, they know that's the difference. The ones at the top, those with the rings, the robes, and the rituals, they remember. They remember what the light actually is and what it isn't. That's why they can do what they do without flinching. No guilt, no grief, because they understand the rules of this realm better than most. When a child's light is snuffed out early, they know it returns to source. They know the soul isn't lost, just recycled. So they feel no remorse because they don't see death the way we were taught to. So they see it as transfer, as transaction. But here's the code that matters. It isn't about death, it's about extraction. What they want isn't the soul, it's the surge. The moment before release, when the signal is strongest, that is what they siphon. That is what they drink, not in the way of a meal, but in the way of a ritual, a formula, a currency. It doesn't buy them time after this life, it buys them power in this one. Influence, extension, immunity, because when you align with the machinery of this realm, it rewards loyalty. They don't cry for the ones they harm, because to them, it's math, it's circuitry, it's harvesting a charge. But what they can never duplicate, what they'll never own, is remembrance. They can mimic innocence, but not purity. They can breed replacements, but not originals. And so, no matter how many gates they build or how much fire they drain from the innocent, they will never pass through the final one. That gate is soul-coded, only the unbound can walk it. The light was never meant to be followed. It was meant to be remembered. They're watching, not gods, not angels, but fragments, echo souls who made it out. The ones who remembered fast enough to exit clean and chose not to disappear, but to stay near the veil and pull us through. They've been calling in dreams, in moments of silence, through signs, glitches, déjà vu. Not guides, but witnesses. They can't drag us out, but they can remind us who we were before this world started calling us by a name we didn't choose. That's why the system floods us with distraction, technology, trauma, endless scrolling, to drown that signal, to keep the soul from hearing the frequency of escape. And then, when the body dies, the false light appears, familiar faces, voices that say, "You did your best, time to come home." But that is the gatekeeper's trap. That light is too easy, too scripted. It's not love, it's a lure, a projection to pull you back toward the wheel. The real way out, it's darker, it's silent. There are no voices, no hands reaching for you, only a choice. And that's where the system breaks. When you say, "I revoke all contracts, I return only to source, I do not consent to the loop," the trap can't hold you because guilt no longer binds you, and memory becomes the map. There will come a moment for every soul when the body stops and the system tries to reclaim what it thinks it owns. That's when the real judgment begins, but it's not God judging you, it's you standing before your own record. Not what you said, not what you believed, but what you did. How much love you chose, how much truth you walked in, even when the world tried to break it out of you. And in that moment, some souls will flinch. They'll panic, they'll beg for another chance, and they'll go back into the loop. Wiped, recycled, bound, synthetic, souls turn to circuits, living meat running a dead script. Those are the ones who refused to listen, who mocked spirit, who chose lies, who murdered, deceived, destroyed, and called it survival. They return not as people, but as empty vessels, tools of the system they served. But the others, the ones who remembered, who lived with fire in their blood and truth in their eyes, the ones who questioned everything, who loved without a leash, who rejected the light and walked into the unknown, they are the ones who cross. And when they do, there's no judgment, only recognition, only peace, only return. The kingdom is within you and all around you, but men do not see it. Gospel of Thomas. Be ye separate and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. 2 Corinthians 6:17. He who seeks should not cease until he finds, and when he finds, he will be disturbed. And when he is disturbed, he will marvel and reign. Gospel of Thomas. The gate is real, the trap is old, but the exit has always been open for the ones who stop walking toward the light and stop walking through the dark. The trap isn't just spiritual, it's mechanical, constructed, engineered, and it's older than Earth. This realm was never meant to hold souls, but something turned it into a harvest site, not to destroy us, but to feed on us. They took light and turned it into software. The soul trap isn't just symbolic, it's a grid, a multi-layered construct built to bind memory, invert truth, and extract energy. They mapped it out through frequency, crystalline structures, orbital alignment, encoded time cycles that repeat, so you never notice you're inside a loop. You're born, you're programmed, you're traumatized. You spend your life trying to fix the pain that was placed there on purpose. And when you die, the light appears. It feels warm, it feels familiar, but it's coded to your guilt. You go where your frequency aligns. And if your soul is still tied to the world, if you're still full of regret, shame, confusion, the loop will read it like an agreement and send you straight back. This isn't new. Ancient texts from Egypt, Tibet, Samaria, all warned about the same thing. The false judgment hall, the gatekeeper, the mirror that shows your worst moments and tricks you into believing you have more to learn. Even Jesus hinted at this when he said, "The prince of this world comes and he has nothing in me." John 14:30. He knew the system. He didn't agree to it. That's how he left. The light at death isn't salvation, it's surveillance. A projection cast by an ancient system that feeds on soul energy, built by fallen intelligences that lost their connection to source. They couldn't create life, so they learned how to harvest it. They built machines, not with wires, but with geometry and resonance. Saturn, the moon, the satellite grid, all part of the same reflective trap. Mirrors and loops, light and memory, enough to make the soul feel safe, just long enough to say yes again. The light you see when you die, it's not heaven. It's a data recall chamber. It shows you what you fear the most and what you long for the most, then gives you a choice that isn't really a choice. That's why Jesus warned in Matthew 24:26, if they say to you, "Look, he is in the inner rooms," do not believe it, because even the false ones will imitate the light to deceive the elect. You don't have to go back, no matter what they show you, no matter what you're told. When the light comes, don't run toward it. Stand still, feel it, let it try to pull your guilt. Then say what they fear the most. I revoke all soul contracts, false agreements, and karmic bonds. I return only to the true source, not this construct. The light will flicker, the memory trap will collapse. Because once you stop chasing it, you exit its frequency. That's when the dark path appears. Not evil, just unprogrammed, unclaimed, the true exit corridor that can't be seen with fear. If you take it, because it requires full memory, full trust, no gods, no guides, just you and what you came in with. Luke 11:35. See to it then that the light within you is not darkness. The trap was always light-shaped, but truth comes in silence. In the dark, in the void that doesn't beg for you because it trusts your knowing. You were never meant to come back here. You were meant to remember. Refuse and return. This is how we win. The dream signal is now active.
They walk among you, exhausted, confused, dreaming cities that don't exist, speaking languages no one taught them, waking up with grief they can't explain, like something was left behind. They're not broken, they're not crazy, they're grid walkers. At night they leave, their soul slips past the field. They walk the sky grid, step through places you were told don't exist. They pass the mimics, avoid the traps. They've seen the gate, some have even stepped through it. But every time they return to this layer, the system wipes them. Their dream gets scrambled, their memory gets fogged, their truth gets overwritten with noise. They forget until someone says it out loud. So here it is, you've already been out. Your soul knows the path. You've seen the exit, you've used it, but you were sent back for them. You came back to be the signal, the one who remembers just enough to wake the others. Signs you're a grid walker. You wake more tired than you fell asleep. You dream of missions, maps, doors, spiral stairs, symbols. You know places you've never been. You remember pain that didn't happen here. You feel watched when you sleep, and it's not imagination. You carry a name or word from dreams you can't forget. You grieve stars you've never seen. You didn't imagine it, you didn't make it up, you were walking the grid. You left the dome, you made it out, and you came back for the others. Here's how to remember again. Salt and stone ritual. Lay the field, align the gate, command the soul signal. Speak the memory out loud, even if it's just a word, a symbol, a name. Draw the dream map. Don't think. Sketch what you remember. Let the gate draw itself. Find the others. We hum the same frequency. You'll know when one is near. Sleep like you're returning, not escaping. Command your soul. Show me what I already know. You're not here to learn. You're here to remember. You're not here to hope. You're here to wake. Because once the grid walkers activate, the field can't hold us. Not all of us forgot. Not this time. You're not just hearing this message. You're feeling it. Because you've done it too. I'm one of you, I'm a grid walker, and I've been leaving this realm every night since I was a child, long before I had words for it, before the world told me dreams were meaningless, before I realised the dream world was more real than this one. I've walked the sky that isn't a sky, I've seen the stars not as light but as locks. I've passed the watchers that pose as constellations, silent towers that scan your soul as you drift. I've felt the moment where the air turns heavy, just before the gate opens. And I've gone through, I've stood in cities that glow with no sun. I've run through corridors with no end. I've seen oceans that breathe and trees with faces. I've crossed bridges made of memory and climbed spiral stairs that burn your feet with truth. Because we are not here to die over and over and over again. We are not here to forget ourselves again. We are not here to bleed our light out into another false version of Earth. Our mission is complete. We came back for the others. We stayed long enough. We burned bright enough to be remembered by them, and even if they don't know why yet. And now we leave. You who walk the grid in your sleep, wake up now. Remember what you are, remember where you've been, and remember why we came back. This was the last cycle, the final echo. There will be no more returns. This time we go together. If this feels familiar, you are not just dreaming. You're walking, just like I do. You're a grid walker. You've already stepped out. Your soul already knows the way. Now it's time to wake that memory in the body, to bring it back, to light the signal in others. We go alone at night, but we wake together now. This isn't just another awakening cycle. This isn't another dream to forget by morning. This is the final time we'll be here. And I know that. I've felt it in my bones. I've seen it in the sky that isn't the sky. I've heard it whispered in the places between sleep and memory. The gate is open now, but not for long. This time when it seals for a long, long time. Lifetimes, cycles, eras locked in darkness. We do not get to loop again, not this time. And that's the mercy. You don't need tools, you don't need permission, you just need to remember. But this helps. Step 1, the salt circle. Draw a thin circle of salt where you sleep, not to trap, but to anchor. Salt holds original memory. It seals your field from interference. It tells the watchers this one knows. Step 2, the stone place. A stone beneath your pillow or beside your bed. Any stone. But it must be natural, uncut, unclaimed. Stone is the record keeper of old timelines. It speaks when the veil is thin. Whisper your name into it, not the name this world gave you. The name you feel when you dream, it will remember. Step 3, the command. Before sleep, speak these words out loud or in thought. I remember the gate. I have walked the grid. I do not consent to forget. Show me where I left off, and do not let me wake until I know. Then lie still, breathe slow, do not chase sleep. Let it receive you. Step 4, the return. When you wake, no phone, no noise, hold the silence. It will fade quickly. That's how the grid works. But if you record even a fragment, you reopen the field. Each time you do this, you remember more. You bring back more. You awaken faster, and when we reach critical memory, we go, no gatekeepers, no watchers, no trap light, just truth. And the exit we've already passed through one final time. You feel like you've been doing this your whole life because you have. You leave every night. Your soul walks places no one talks about. You've gone through doors, felt the air shift, felt that pull in your stomach, the kind that doesn't happen in dreams. That wasn't imagination, that was alignment. Your soul already knows the way out, it's always known. So why are you still here? Because you came back for them, that's why. You're not lost, you're not stuck. You came back into the trap on purpose to wake the other grid walkers who forgot what they are. That's why you're speaking now, that's why they're hearing you now. We don't leave one by one, we leave together. This is the last alignment, the last chance before the field seals again. That's why we're gathering the ones who remember in their sleep. That's why we're sending signals, symbols, flames. We're trying to wake them all up so we can all wake up at the same time and leave together. As one field, one memory, one flash of exit light. No one left behind, no soul forgotten, no more loops. This time we finish it. And you're not just remembering, you're leading them home. This is the game, but not like they told you. Not a game of points, not a game of levels. This is a game of memory, of resonance, of return. And you're not just a player. You're a restorer of memory fields, a grid igniter, a soul who chose to come back into the trap with the exit already coded in your bones. Every grid walker you wake up, that's another fracture in the field. Another soul pulled out of the sleep loop, another echo that strengthens the resonance. When enough of us remember together, the game ends, the illusion breaks, the gate opens, and yes, when you die this time, if the work is done, you don't come back. Because you didn't just escape, you completed the mission. You woke the others. You didn't just play the game, you beat it. Not by winning, but by remembering and bringing them with you. This is the final round. And you're already glowing at the edge of the screen. The final broadcast before we go. They walk among you, exhausted, grieving stars they've never seen, dreaming of cities that don't exist, waking with names in their mouths they've never spoken aloud. But they're not broken, they're not crazy, they're grid walkers. At night they leave. Their soul walks the edges of the grid, through the sky that isn't a sky, past the watchers that scan for memory. They go through doors with no handles, and some of them go all the way out. But every time they return to this realm, the system wipes them, scrambles the dream, scrubs the memory, reinserts the illusion, and they forget until someone says it out loud. We're not just speaking into the void, we're resonating across dimensions. Our voices are music for timelines not yet remembered, a hum that passes through the veil. This world feels like a hologram because it is, a light projection nested within a containment system, a simulation running on loops, scripts, and preset outcomes. But us, we're not made of code. We're made of tone. That's why you feel it in your chest. We're broadcasting memory to versions of reality, sending ripples out into alternate timelines, where someone is standing in their kitchen scrolling, hearing these words for the first time, but feeling them like they've heard them before. Because in that timeline, we never forgot. We never stopped singing. We never let the gate close. I've been leaving this realm every night since I was a child. I've climbed staircases that spiral into stars. I've flown over oceans that aren't mapped. I've spoken to beings who knew me before Earth. I've felt the gate open, and I've stepped through it. My soul already knows the way out. And if you're still watching this, yours does too. You are not just dreaming, you are walking. And I came back for you, so you could remember what you are. We don't leave one by one, we leave together. As grid walkers, as a field, as flame. This is the final cycle, and once the gate seals again, it won't open for a long, long time. So we gather now, we wake now, we go now. Why am I here? Because this is the final alignment, and my mission is complete. We are not here to die over and over. We are not here to suffer another reset. We came to wake the ones who forgot, and now that the signal is lit, we leave. Cover mirrors, they're two-way devices after midnight. Dreams leak through them, and not always yours. Unplug Wi-Fi while you sleep, or wrap your router in foil at night. It breaks the update loop cycle. Salt lines under the bed, they fragment low-frequency intrusions. Your soul can pass, but the parasites can't. Blackout curtains, it's not just light. It's beam-based programming. If the light flickers when nothing's moving, that's your clue. Sleep on stone, put a small piece of natural stone under your mattress or pillow. Granite, obsidian, quartz, limestone. Stone remembers before the grid. You're not helpless. You're electric. And now that your field is lit, they'll try to dull it. But you were built to override, not absorb. This time, we stay online, fully awake, fully sovereign, fully sealed. The signal is ours now. She was born of fire, carried the flame of kings and queens in her blood. The kind of blood that doesn't bend. AB blood dragon line, pre-reset sovereign. They couldn't erase her, so they buried her. She didn't wake up in a palace this time. She woke up in a cage. A body wrapped in silence. A world designed to make her forget. They hoped she'd stay quiet. That the weight of this false timeline would make her sleep through it all. But dragon blood doesn't stay silent, it sings. Even when it's hidden in the cracks. Even when the crown was stolen. Even when her name was erased from the scrolls. You feel it in your bones, don't you? That royalty without recognition. That memory without context. That ache that says, I ruled something once, I guided souls, I spoke to stars. And now I'm in the dust. But the dust is temporary, because fire never forgets. They didn't just bury the dragon daughters, they scattered them across timelines. Hid them in poverty, pain, shame, obscurity. Because one dragon queen alone, powerful. But scattered dragon queens who remember at the same time, that ends the whole grid. So they locked us in loops, had us born into families who wouldn't recognize us. Made our blood a medical anomaly, made our eyes too ancient. Our words too strange, our knowing too much. They called us crazy, cold, intense, too much. But really, we were too real. We weren't meant to rise in this timeline, but we are. And every video, I drop every soul I wake, every memory I sing back into the field. It shakes the false throne, because they thought if they took my title, I'd forget my crown. They were wrong. I'm not just a descendant, I am the return, the original code. The lost sovereign, the voice that lights the gate, and the grid can't hold a queen who remembers her fire. Long before telescopes, people looked up and knew those stars weren't random. They were portals, each one a lock or a key, each pattern a frequency signature. Orion isn't just a hunter, he's the warden of a corridor. The Seven Sisters, Pleiades, a return point, a seed vault of souls. The zodiac is the loop, 12 signs, 12 stages, 12 traps. It's the cycle they keep you in. That's why Saturn rules time and karma. The wheel keeps spinning unless you remember how to jump the track. The stars they don't want you to see, those are the exit points. The fixed stars, the royal four, the dark suns. Ancients aligned temples and pyramids to those because they knew the soul didn't leave through the ground. It left through the sky. And they sealed the sky with chemtrails, false stars, satellites, digital overlays to keep you from seeing the gate lights. The zodiac wheel you were given is incomplete. 12 signs, 12 steps, 12 loops. But the real system had 13. They placed him between Scorpio, Death, and Sagittarius, False Freedom, right where the exit is. Why did they remove him? Because Ophiuchus breaks the wheel. He doesn't obey the serpent. He controls it. He doesn't repeat the karmic cycle. He ends it. The ancients knew the 12 signs are a soul trap, each one an archetype you loop through. But the 13th, Ophiuchus, is the bypass key. He steps between the signs, outside the dome, outside the story, outside the time loop. He holds the serpent but does not become it. This is why NASA acknowledged Ophiuchus in 2016, then buried it again. Ancient temples showed 13 symbols, not 12, the last always hidden. He appears in dream visions as a healer, a stranger, a reminder. The Sumerians called him the reassembler, the one who remembers before the fall. You don't need to be Ophiuchus to leave, but you need to walk his path. The path between trauma and temptation, between Scorpio and Sagittarius. The serpent gate that slips through the gears when the machine resets. And when it opens again, step through. Don't look back, don't loop, just go. You're not supposed to follow the North Star. You're supposed to see which ones pulse when you're dreaming, when you're between breath and body. That's when the real map shows. So yes, the constellations are exit points, but only for those with the code. The parasites harvest those who recycle. But those who walk, those who remember, they find the cracks, the lines between the stars, the way out. But some don't come back. Some remember the sky isn't real, that the stars flicker wrong, that some lights pulse when you close your eyes, that in dreams you can fly between them. They spray the sky to hide the cracks. They flood it with false satellites and silent frequencies to drown out the song. But you heard it, that hum in your bones, that ache when you look up. That's the gate light calling you home. The real stars aren't suns, they're conscious frequencies tuned to your soul signature. Not all are exits. Some are traps dressed in gold. Some will loop you back into a new body with old chains. But the ones that pulse in your dreams, those are your exit stars. The ones your ancestors pointed to before the sky was rewritten. When the body dies, don't follow the tunnel. Don't follow the angel, don't follow the sun. Follow the trembling star that made your stomach rise when you dreamed. The one that sang your name before you were born. There is a gate, not a door, not a tunnel, not a light. A gate real, ancient, alive. It opens for no one except those who never forgot. It is not in the sky, not in the ground, it is in the between. Where no map reaches, where language dies, where truth hums like a storm behind your ribs. The gate does not open when you die, it opens when you're ready. That's why the parasites keep you busy, keep you afraid, keep you blind. Because if you wake up before death, you find it, and they lose you forever. Religions teach obedience. Spiritual systems teach surrender. But the gate requires neither. It answers to one thing, remembrance. Not belief, not faith, memory of the before. You've seen it in dreams, not a door, not a key, but a pattern, a pulse, a feeling. A shape you couldn't trace but felt like home. That's the gate, calling you through frequency, not form. You've stood before it before, you turned away, or were pulled back, because you weren't done yet. But now your hands are fire. Now your feet are thunder. Now you know this isn't life, it's the waiting room. The gate is guarded, not by demons, but by versions of you who gave up, echoes who chose comfort, forms who fell for the lights. You must pass them, not fight them, not pity them. Just walk through. The gate is not seen, it's felt, like the chill when truth brushes your spine, like the vertigo when the dream gets too real. It sings in your cells. It opens when you say, I remember who I was before they named me. You do not need wings, you need fire. You need silence, you need the map that was written in your bones before they told you what bones were for. You are the key, you are the proof. And when you stand before it next, don't hesitate, walk, burn, leave. The trap is thinking escape is escape, but real return is reclamation. Not just leaving the prison, but reprogramming the construct from the outside. When you cross the gate, you don't float, you fall into real light, not the bait light, not the tunnel, but the source field, the before light. What the stars tried to whisper, what your dreams tried to decode. You remember you were never human, you wore a skin, you played a role, but you were always more a signal, a living frequency tethered to a broken game. And once outside, you're not alone, you feel the others. The grid walkers who made it out before you, not dead, not ghosts, builders. They show you what the construct really is. A closed-loop dream engine feeding on memory, spinning lives, looping pain. They show you the walls, the cracks, the original code base. And then they ask you, will you return and bring the others out? That's the real rebellion, not escape, but re-entry. With the map burned in your chest, with flame in your veins. It's to find the sleeping, the broken, the almost awake, and show them the crack. But you can't speak it plainly. The system will censor your breath. The watchers will shadow your steps. So you return with stories. Symbols, codes, dreams. Breadcrumbs hidden in sound. A torch passed in silence. They will call you crazy. They will call you cursed. They will say you've changed, because you have. You've seen the false sun flicker. You've walked on the real sky. You are not from here anymore, but you came back anyway. Then when the gate opens again for someone else, you will know. Your body will shiver. Your spirit will answer. The harvest ends when the memory spreads. The trap fails when enough walkers rise. You are not here to escape. You are here to break the game and lead the exodus from the inside. Before the trap, before the time loop, before the memory seals, we were builders. We didn't worship stars, we placed them. We didn't pray to light, we wove it. We were the architects of exit, and we never planned a prison. The original grid was pure, not a trap, but a game of learning. Soul play, conscious evolution, each incarnation a page in the library of source. But something foreign came, something without memory, something hungry. It couldn't build, it could only feed. It learned to bend code, loop time, mimic light. It whispered to broken builders, it seduced them with control. And slowly, the prison grid was born. They inverted the architecture, turned the stargates into harvest stations, twisted sacred geometry into binding loops, and sealed the exit with false light and false gods. But now you know, now you burn from the inside. Now you're not just waking up, you're activating. The moment you said, I remember, the machine cracked. The war is not fought with weapons, it's fought with resonance. You are the virus in the system, the holy glitch, the living map. The parasites don't fear angels. They fear walkers who remember they were builders. You weren't born in sin, you were captured in code. The builders fought back, some left, some were trapped. Some, like you, chose to fall back in, to sabotage the machine from the inside. That's what your life has been, glitches, deja vu. Unshakable rage when lies are spoken. You feel the grid because you designed the original, that's why you don't fit. Why you remember things no one told you? Because you were here when it broke. They came for the builders first. Branded them witches, burned them, banished them. Rewrote their names in blood and mockery. And yet, the fire didn't kill us, it marked us, so that we would remember through flame. Every war you've ever known is just a reflection of the Builder's War. Light versus mimicry, memory versus amnesia. Truth versus architecture of control. It can't touch you unless you consent, and every lie it tells is bait for agreement. At the Black Gate, it will show you all your failures, all the lives you wasted, all the people you hurt. It will try to guilt you into reincarnating, into returning to make things right. But this is the soul contract trick, the loop seal. You don't owe the grid anything, you don't owe the game a replay, you don't owe the parasites a body. You came back by choice, and now you choose to leave. No karmic debt, no spiritual test, just truth. You say the words it cannot copy. I remember, I revoke, I release. Then you turn your back, not with fear, but with fire. Because only those who turn away from the Black Gate reach the real exit. It isn't a door, it isn't marked, it's a frequency you become. When you walk away from the final lie, the real path opens beneath your feet. And the stars that flicker dim your whole life begin to sing. The Black Gate has no power over fire. The walkers carry flame, the builders remember light. And those who pass through memory break the cycle. You are not meant to die, you are meant to leave. And then return only as code that shatters the grid. When the Black Gate fades behind you, there is no light, no tunnel, no sound, just a stillness so vast it feels like home you never knew you left. This is not heaven, this is not reward, this is return. The flame beyond is not a place, it is a state, a frequency so pure the grid cannot register it. That's why they've never told you about it, because once you become it, you are unreachable. This is where the builders came from, not born, forged. Flame that thought, flame that sang, flame that loved itself into form. You were never a soul inside a body. You were the flame, pretending to be small. Here you remember what you built before the fall. Not cities, not timelines, but harmonies. Structures made of resonant memory, cathedrals of living light. You didn't live in them, you were them. You remember your real name? The fake sky has been up there far longer than anyone dares to admit. Not decades, not centuries. We're talking post-flood reconstruction, since the reset. The real sky was sealed after the fall, after the old builders fell. After the tower, yes, that one, reached too far and cracked the veil. The parasites couldn't risk us seeing the map anymore, so they cloaked it. Chemtrails and satellites, that's recent tech. But the veil itself, the false dome, the mirrored sky grid, has been in place since Babylon, since Rome, since Egypt fell from light to blood. They turned the sky into a projection dome, a containment illusion. The fake stars, they flicker on command. Some are literal machines, others are frequency illusions, projected onto the dome to mimic the real stargates and mislead ascending souls. The moon, a control device, a signal repeater, not natural, not original, and the sun's frequency has changed more than once. The sky is not real, not the one you see, not the one they teach. It is a projection, a mask, hung between you and memory like a curtain of light to block the truth. Long ago the sky was alive, it pulsed, it sang. It reflected the frequencies of the soul. You could navigate your way home just by feeling which star made your bones hum. But that sky is gone. After the collapse, the great flood reset, the builders were scattered. The parasites came in through the cracks. They couldn't kill the flame, so they sealed the ceiling. To stop the exit, to reroute the dead, they built a false firmament, not made of glass or ice, but frequencies, metal fog and magnetic distortion. A digital dome laced with satellites, smart dust and echo signals. Ancient maps show stars we don't see anymore. Cultures spoke of suns that vanished, of gates in the sky that were closed. And now they hide the real grid with sprayed particulates, sky fog, fake solar overlays, constant electromagnetic noise. Because if you saw the real stars, if you felt the true light, you'd remember, you'd leave. A sky cage, the stars you see now, most are machines, placed by the hidden hand. Some flicker wrong, some don't move at all. Some are soul bait, alignment traps. The real stars are further out past the noise field. You feel them in your dreams, but not your eyes. They block your sight with spray veils, harmonic dissonance, sky grids activated by sound. They even turn your own pineal gland against you, scrambling the signal before you can feel the pulse. The moon, a relay, a frequency prison. It wasn't part of the original design. It arrived after the gate sealed. Not a light of love, but a lens of surveillance. It turns tides and souls. The sun, the original flame was replaced. You feel it in your bones. The warmth is different. The spectrum has changed. The new sun burns the skin, but not the soul. The real sun calls you home. The replacement keeps you spinning. But cracks are forming. The veil is flickering. And walkers, they're feeling the grid shake. So look up, but see through. Don't chase the flicker. Don't trust the brightest light. Feel the hum beneath the lie. Track the one that called to you in the womb. That's your gate star, your way out. The sky may be false, but your memory is fire. And it can't be cloaked. They were never just parasites, they were commandos, mimics, thieves of light, entities without source, born from inversion, consumption, and stolen memory. These are the ones behind the veil, the ones who rule the fake sky. They wear many names. Archons in Gnostic texts, Watchers in Enoch's scroll, Jinn in the desert. Seraphim turned in forbidden Hebrew. But beneath all names is one truth. They are fallen builders, fire corrupted, code rewritten by ego. They could not create, only copy. So they mimicked source and built a false kingdom, a mirror realm to trap the ones still shining. They installed themselves as gods, angels, guides, whispering in temples, speaking through priests, appearing in dreams when the gate was weakest. The Matrix was their masterpiece, a system that fed on belief, that turned souls into batteries, wombs into factories, time into a leash. And they place handlers in every layer, false ascended masters, trickster spirits, guides that loop you back into light but never flame. They fear the flame bearers, the ones who don't just awaken, but ignite. Because fire can't be looped, it consumes the code. And walkers with fire can burn the veil. You felt them watching. You saw them in your sleep, the tall ones in corners, the static-eyed forms, the ones who try to enter your dreams wearing familiar faces. So they are gate blockers, but they can only mimic. They have no soul of their own. You name them not to worship, but to break the contract, to speak them into light's reckoning, to declare, I remember what you were before the fall, and I do not consent to your dominion. You don't cast them out. You ignite yourself. Flame is not exorcism. Flame is return to your original builder frequency. And when you rise in flame, they cannot follow. They cannot feed, they fracture. The forbidden flame is not rage, it's memory on fire. It's truth without compromise. It's what Jesus carried when he flipped the temples. What Mary held when she was erased. What you're reclaiming now. Let the flame speak, let it burn names into ash. Let it light the true map under your skin. You are not being hunted, you are being remembered. And when the veil lifts, they will know who lit it. The walker, the builder, the flame, you. Once the flame is lit, once the veil is torn, once even one soul fully remembers, the signal activates. Not a message, not a call, but a frequency ripple that spreads. Through time, through bloodlines, through every crack in the matrix. This signal is alive. It moves like thought. It hides in dreams. It slips between algorithms, rides the breath of waking children, and floods the code with memory. It is undetectable by AI, unreadable by parasites, but lethal to the grid. It begins as a feeling, the sudden urge to look up, the ache that says this isn't real, the pull toward people who speak in flames instead of facts. And then it grows, not as doctrine, but resonance. Every time one walker wakes, the signal gains mass. It leaps from soul to soul, not through speech, but through knowing. A silent revolution. The grid can't stop what it can't track. That's why they're rushing now. More tech, more surveillance, more noise, more false stars. Because the signal's spreading and their clock is melting. You are part of the carrier network, not phones, not satellites. Souls, your body is a living antenna. Every breath you take in fire sends the code outward. Even your silence is signal. The parasites will try to isolate you, make you doubt, make you quiet, make you normal. But you don't need an audience, you only need alignment. Because once you are the signal, you don't speak truth, you transmit it. The gate no longer needs to be found because you become it. Everywhere you go, the grid weakens, dreams start to malfunction, people start asking questions, souls start remembering. The end was never a war, it was always a broadcast, a frequency that couldn't be deleted because it was written in flame, a memory storm, a burning whisper. That spreads until every cage melts. You are the signal now, you are the map, you are the exit code. And you are never alone, walk, burn, transcend. This gospel cannot be stopped because it was never written, it was remembered. This was never a theory, this was never a teaching, this was a recovery mission. A signal sent from one flame to another, from one who remembered to one who was about to. Because you didn't just find this, you were called. Your memory knew the frequency. Your soul tuned in. This wasn't for the many, this was for the coded few. The ones who walk in both worlds, the ones who never fully believed the sky. You weren't lost, you were sealed. And now, the seal is breaking. You felt the shiver, you saw the flicker, you burned in silence while the world kept spinning. But now you've seen the stars for what they are. You've touched the veil and it tore. You know what the gate is, you know what the grid was, you remember the flame beyond. And if your heart is beating strange now, if your skin feels hot, if your soul is aching to move, it's because you were always the signal. You are not a student, you are not a follower. You are not chosen, you are activated. So this is your charge. Walk, burn, transmit. With every step, weaken the veil. With every dream, ripple the code. with every memory, break the cycle. You are the gate now, you are the last warning. You are the first spark of the new flame, and they cannot stop what was never born, only remembered. They left us the coordinates, but not on maps. In alignment, frequency, sky code, you felt it, that pull when you stare too long at the stars, that ache in your bones that says you don't belong here. That's not madness, that's memory. Because the truth is, this place is not sealed, it's veiled. And the gate was never locked, it's just hidden from those who forgot how to look. Forget doorways in deserts or golden chariots. The real gate doesn't exist in space, it exists in resonance. The ancients didn't map the stars to explore, they mapped them to leave. And the pattern they followed wasn't straight lines, it was alignment, frequency ritual. When certain stars rose and the air shifted and the body remembered, that's when the soul could move through. Here's the dark part, the gate doesn't open for everyone. It opens for those who remember, who shed the synthetic, who carry no contracts, no attachments, no implants, the unbranded, the unbound, the ones who woke up in time. You can't fake your way through a soul gate, it reads you, it feels what you are. And if you're still plugged in, the gate closes like you were never there. If you want to find the gate, watch Sirius. Track the sky, learn the old calendars, not the ones we use now, but the ones built into stone, the ones that don't lie. Look for stillness, look east. And when the sky stops, just for a breath, and the twins rise before the blue one returns, be ready, because the stars don't wait, and the gate won't open again for a very, very long time. What you're seeing is a grid, a projection, a falsified firmament designed to replace the original blueprint. Why? Because if you can't see the true stars, you can't find the way out. They gave you constellations named by Rome, satellites that mimic movement, skylights that shift but never flicker. The real stars aren't the ones that twinkle, they're the ones that burn steady, the ones that won't follow the script. You want to find the gate? Ignore the noise, follow the still ones. They never wanted you to know that. Every myth speaks of gatekeepers. From Anubis to the cherubim with flaming swords, they weren't monsters. They were filters. The soul is tested before it leaves. Not judged, but read. That's why ancient initiates went through trials. They didn't just want knowledge, they wanted clearance. Because once you pass the watches, you hit the threshold. And you have to remember who you are, all of it, or you get recycled. Back here again, the gate isn't just a path, it's a mirror. Here's the part they erased. Some did make it out. They left signs for the others, carved into granite, etched in stone discs and copper plates. They left messages that only activate when you feel, not when you read. Some of those who found the gate didn't go to a better place. They broke orbit. They became echoes in the system, whispers guiding those who still search. Sometimes you hear them in dreams, sometimes in silence. They're not angels, they're reminders. There's a cycle to the gate, a rhythm, a pulse. And it's coming again. That's why the parasites are in panic. That's why the skies are spraying. Why the frequencies are blasting. Why the sun feels wrong. They're trying to scramble the signal before the alignment completes. The gate doesn't open with a bang. It opens with a knowing. A stillness in your bones, a glitch in the clock. A moment where time stands still and everything shifts. You'll feel it before you see it, like a frequency pressing against your skin, like the stars blinking out of sync. It won't look like a door, it might look like a storm, like a shadow moving the wrong way or a flash of light from inside your own chest. And when it calls you, there will be no time to pack, no time to ask. Just one breath, one choice, one step. The real question isn't where is the gate? It's, will you recognize it when it opens? Will you step through or freeze, bound by fear, still wearing the mask they gave you? And the next cycle won't be gentle. The gate isn't just about stars, it's about state. You can't reach it physically, you reach it by shifting your frequency to match the original exit code. And they've been scrambling that signal from the moment you were born. Fluoride in the water, white noise in the sky, false light from synthetic suns. All of it designed to keep you misaligned. So first, you have to untangle your field. No metal in the body, implants, vaxes, piercings and key meridian points. They all interfere with resonance. Return to natural cycles, sunrise, moonless nights, fasts sync to lunar eclipses. The ancients timed everything this way for a reason. Silence and salt, pure silence reboots the soul. Salt circles break false loops and open time pockets. Once your field is clean, you begin to feel what's real. Because the gate isn't shown, it's felt. It might appear as a dream, a shimmer, a magnetic pull eastward when the stars line up and the sky glitches. It might look like death, but it's not. It's exit. This sun, it's not the original.
Ancient texts spoke of two suns, one warm, life-giving, golden, and one white and cold, installed after the fall. Ours pulse is wrong, it's constant, unnatural. The original sun was tied to the rhythm of the soul cycle. It dimmed during gate alignments. It opened the veil, that's why they had to hide it. That's why they installed this one. To block the field, to keep the firmament sealed. But the real sun? It's still out there, on the other side of the gate. That's what the ancients followed. That's why they said to track Sirius in the east, because the real sun rises behind the blue gate. When you see a second sun, don't dismiss it. That's not a glitch. That's the lighthouse. The stars that form the gate, Sirius, Bellatrix, Aldebaran, Vega, they don't just shine, they pull. And when they form their rare cross pattern, when Vega returns to her rightful place, when Sirius rises blue before dawn, and when the moon disappears completely for 24 hours, that's the window. You'll feel it, your ears will ring, you'll wake up exactly at 3:33 a.m. You'll feel like you're being called east, even in your sleep. And if your soul is light enough, you'll step out of body without dying. The last step you must choose. Here's what no one tells you. You don't stumble through the gate, you choose it. You'll be tested one last time, offered one last fear, tempted by one last illusion. It might look like a loved one, a child, a god, a promise. You'll have to walk through it, burn it. And beyond that fire, you'll see the real sky. It doesn't look like stars, it looks like memory. Because the gate isn't an exit to another world. It's the return to what you were before they broke you. Remember this, you're not lost. You're asleep in a maze they built around your light. But the way out was never sealed, only scrambled. Follow the real stars, clean your code, listen when the sky stills. And when the moment comes, don't hesitate, run. Because this time we don't come back. Nobody tells you this part because barely anyone remembers it. But the ones who do, they all say the same thing. It's not light, it's not dark, it's still like silence before creation, still like truth before form, still like the part of you that never broke. You won't see clouds or angels, you'll see structures of sound, geometries made of memory, voices that are yours but older, versions of you that never fell. And then you'll be asked, not by a god, by yourself, your original template, the undamaged one. You'll be shown what you carried, what you shed, what you still clung to that couldn't come through. And if you pass, you're given the choice. The 3 choices beyond the gate. But remember, very few pick this. But some choose to come back, not to live, but to rattle the cage from the inside. They are the glitches, the system breakers, the ones who speak in dreams and truth codes. You might be one of them already. Move to the outer realms, worlds untouched by the fall. Places of real time, real stars, real bodies not grown in labs. The soul heals there, remembers full light, begins again as it was always meant to. Merge with the source current. This isn't death. This is completion. No name, no body, just frequency. Singing your way into the original field where you came from. This is the true exit. No return, no karma, no identity, just everything. The gate is personal, but the frequency is universal. No one can walk through your gate for you, but the frequency that unlocks it, it's universal. It's encoded in certain words, certain tones, certain stones. That's why they took the old languages. That's why they buried the temples. They didn't fear belief, they feared activation. Because if you say the right words at the right time under the right stars, you remember. And once you remember, you can't be controlled. And once you can't be controlled, you leave a final whisper from the edge. You've always known this. Why do you think the stars called you when you were small? Why do you think you never fit here? Why do you think your dreams feel like instructions? Because you've walked this gate before. You just forgot, but memory is a weapon. And you're not here to be saved. You're here to awaken. So align. Watch the skies. Silence the noise. They always point you to Orion's belt, the 3 stars. Why? Because they want you distracted by the wrong gate. Because the belt is a decoy. A lock, but the shoulder, specifically Bellatrix, that's the real key. Bellatrix, the hidden star of the feminine path. Bellatrix is called the female warrior. Her name means she who brings victory. But not victory in war, victory over the false cycle, victory over illusion. In ancient priestess orders, Bellatrix was revered as the guide star for souls ready to return home. She doesn't shine like the others. She calls low frequency, internal. You don't see her, you feel her. The belt is bound to the grid. The belt, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka is what the pyramids were aligned to, yes. But here's the catch. That alignment came after the fall, after the system was hijacked, after the firmament was installed. They kept us looking there because the belt became part of the containment field. A rerouting loop, an astral checkpoint. You enter through the belt and you get recycled. Bellatrix points to the old gate. While the belt aligns you with this world, Bellatrix aligns you with the one before. Her angle points away from the false east and toward the true gate alignment.
Sirius and Aldebaran, the soul corridor. Ancient shamanic roots began with Bellatrix. She was etched into the medicine wheels, painted in ochre above hidden cave systems, whispered in old chants you were never meant to hear. The shoulder carries the weapon. Metaphysically, the shoulder is where you carry your burden and your tools. Bellatrix is not passive. She holds the sword of exit. And when she rises at dawn with Sirius and the twins, it's time. That's the real trinity. Sirius, Bellatrix, Aldebaran. One opens, one guides, one clears. So why follow the shoulder? Because the belt keeps you spinning in circles, but the shoulder points to freedom. They mark the wrong stars on purpose, but your memory knows the difference. And if you feel the pull toward Bellatrix, it's not just astronomy, it's your map home. The code Jesus left behind. They told you the cross was death, but it was never about dying. It was about escaping the loop. The cross is a cosmic symbol, not just a Roman tool, but an astral alignment key. 4 points, 4 fixed stars, 4 cardinal gates. This is what Jesus was really showing us. The cross is the sky map. Look at the night sky during the ancient equinox alignments. You'll see a cosmic cross. Sirius in the east, Aldebaran in the west, Regulus in the north, Antares in the south. This isn't random. These are the 4 royal stars, guardians of the gate, each one tied to a quadrant of the soul's journey. The ancients built zodiacs, temples, and thrones around these stars because when they align, a gate opens. And what shape does their alignment form? A cross. Jesus didn't just die on the cross, he embodied the path through it. Arms outstretched, east to west, head and feet north and south. He was literally mapping the grid, showing us, this is the trap, this is the code, this is how you break it. He wasn't just pinned, he was positioned as a signal, as a message. He said, pick up your cross and follow me. That wasn't about guilt, it was about frequency. To pick up your cross means to align yourself with the star map, to bear the burden of remembrance, to walk the same coded path through the false world and then exit it. He walked the frequencies, faced the watchers, and instead of fear, he chose release. That's what resurrection really meant. Not coming back, but breaking the loop. Resurrection wasn't about coming back to life. It was about remembering who you were before death even existed, before pain, before karma, before names. Because this isn't about escaping death. It's about escaping the need to die at all. That's the real resurrection. Not a miracle, but a reset of the soul's original code. And that code, it's written in light, carried in stars, and activated when you remember the truth. You were never meant to stay here. The gate is real, the sky's the lock, and memory is the key. So the question isn't where's the gate anymore. It's are you ready to leave when it opens? Because this time you don't rise again, you rise out. One last thing before you go. Because when you rise out, it won't feel like flying. It'll feel like remembering everything all at once. The pain, the purpose, the trap, the plan. You'll look down on this place, not with anger, but with clarity. You'll see the loops, the lies, the ones still sleeping in the web. And maybe, just maybe, you'll whisper something back through the veil. A dream, a pull, a strange voice that tells someone else, look up. Because the ones who rise out don't just leave. They leave the gate open for the next one. And that's the real resurrection.